Testing, testing, I hope this works, I really do. So I just downgraded the video quality a bit, and I noticed that the lag is still there, but it seems to be a bit less bad. Yeah, there we go. Well, hopefully it stays in that range. If not, I will have to re-downgrade it, but I don't know how that'll end up looking. So anyway, we're out here in the ranger station. And there's this guy, a young, nervous-looking ranger, and if we talk to him we will find out that this is Ranger Rick, whom we were directed to because we need him to take us out to hunt the Skunk-Ape. But things haven't exactly been in balance. I've got a rifle though, but he'll only come to us with us if we can get him an anti-Skunk-Ape amulet. So how do we make one? We need some power source from the ancient earth, something from the woods, and some way to be tied around the neck. In this case it has to be hair from the Skunk-Ape. So we got a Sierra logic puzzle right off the bat. What do you know about the Skunk-Ape? It's currently terrorizing the woods, but anyone who has seen him isn't alive. And we can ask him about the murders, but he tells us pretty much the same thing as the other guy. So let's see what else we can find here. We have this guy, who wears a vest and no shirt apparently. We have these pictures. The founder, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. In this one, she's looking at the camera and smiling, and in this one, she's sitting in a chair reading a book. So let's see what this guy has to say. What's going on? A staunch environmentalist. So what this game is trying to tell us is this guy's a bit of a hippie, that he's protesting against any possible threat to the environment, and it's easy to set him off. And he doesn't believe in the Skunk-Ape. He thinks it's just a story to drive people like him out of here, and actually feels bad for it if it actually does exist. So what about the park? Doesn't like it. Seems like the rangers are doing a decent job, but he doesn't agree. And he doesn't want to talk about it because it angers him. What's with his computer? A small table. But enough of that. Let's see what's over here. Pretty self-explanatory sign. It says a display case with old relics, and a receptionist who is apparently nondescript and amazingly well drawn. What can you tell us about the Skunk-Ape? She's never really heard of it, which is kind of surprising. So this is a nice little setup, which we pride ourselves in, since it has a display case, those photographs, and the computer, which you know is a lot. In the display case are several fossils. A shark tooth, alligator tooth, and some bones, which we might need for the amulet. Wink wink. The photographs are of the founder, who is also an environmentalist, and in the computer there is a program wherein one can scan a photo and then make it look like one is standing next to the park founder. So how shall we use this to our advantage? Well, if you recall, the brochure we picked up has a photo of a receptionist with a knife. So of course what we do is go to the computer, scan in that picture, go take this photograph over here, scan that as well, and now what we have is a pretty convincing doctored photograph of the receptionist sneaking up on the founder with a knife. Because that's logical. So of course what we do now is show that picture to this guy. Who gets ticked off and goes to attack the receptionist. And as we can see, we could cut in, but we're not willing to interrupt. So what we do now is take one of the teeth from the case. And that's about all we have to do on this screen. I'm glad that we managed to solve all the puzzles we needed to solve without really leaving that place. And if we go around the back here, we are overwhelmed by a putrid stench. And it looks like whatever is making that smell is coming from this bush. So of course what we do is take the liver sandwich and leave it here, just in case there's something to be lured out. And then we leave and come right back, and we found that whatever was here left this. What is it? It's a tuft of hair. Sasquatch hair and mange. An odd sense of deja vu we get. But with this and the shark tooth we can make the amulet for the ranger. So now that we've done that, we can convince the ranger to come with us and help guide our little expedition. Later that afternoon, in this masterfully drawn clearing, this is where we found the bodies, so we're going to set up camp and sleep here. That sounds like a great idea. But he forgot something. He forgot the lamps. So we have to go out looking for firewood, but not before talking to him first. He says to be careful and gives us a compass. So how is the camp setup coming? He seems awfully cheery, doesn't he? He says he loves the outdoors, so this is his ideal job. Sounds pretty convincing. So now we also have this, a stainless steel compass. So off we go, wandering into the woods, into this giant cave. But first let's pick up this stick. Seems like great firewood. Yep, not a lot of firewood around, but it's just an ordinary dry stick. So let us enter the cave. The cave of threatening music. Goodness gracious. Few bones lay on the ground, but they look human. Dark red stains on the wall and a pool of liquid on the ground. And a large dark pit, but it's too dark to see if there's anything in it. You will be surprised by how many cases there are. So, I don't know if you guys have figured out what you have to do here yet, but I think it's pretty obvious. What you have to do is take the dry stick, put it on the ground, and then use the compass to strike the wall and make sparks which shoot off the wall and light up the stick. And then you use the stick to light up the hole. Which is very intuitive, of course. So what's this? We found a bunch of cocaine in the hole, of course. Because it certainly wasn't sugar. So why would there be cocaine? Someone might be using the Skunk-Ape, but who? But apparently we've done enough because we're going to go to bed now. So let's have this homely chat about why we chose our careers. And apparently the ranger's parents didn't like him being a ranger either. They wanted him to be a doctor, but he wasn't interested apparently. And they didn't like that, so they threw him out, but he was able to get this job. Apparently this talk has gone on for hours, so they're off to sleep. Notice also that the fire looks like it was taken from something else, because it's distinctly graphically different from everything else in this game. Oh, but we're awoken at 2 AM by a strange noise. How we know what time it is a mystery, but the threatening music is back. And Rick isn't here. Where'd he go? And where's my rifle? Uh-oh. And there's a pervasive odor coming from the west. So off we go to find out what's going on. And this is what's going on. We found a Skunk-Ape. And Rick wants to shoot it. Oh, he lied about liking being a park ranger. He was bad all along. What a shock. But apparently he's slow on the uptake because he allowed his head to be ripped off. And we blacked out, which is a great course of action. But we're woken up by the sensation of being dragged along a path of terrain. And we woke up here, next to this southerner, Jed Johnson, and he is the one behind the Skunk-Ape, and the one who owns the drugs. Apparently he coerced the Skunk-Ape to work for him with the electronic collar, which is how he has been driving people away from his drug running operation. But he'll have to catch us first if he's going to do anything to us. So he's just going to stand there while we go into this house. So how do we deal with the Skunk-Ape? Who is apparently after us. Can't you hear that vicious pounding? We could go up there, but we won't. So what do? The television doesn't have any manual controls. So what's on the couch? No money, but we do find a remote control. So of course we use the remote control on the television. But what's this? Odd programming, actually. If you didn't know any better, you'd say this wasn't a television at all, but a control mechanism for the Skunk-Ape. So of course we use the remote once again, but nothing seems to affect the program, so of course what we do is take the compass and throw it at it. Oh, no you don't. You put it on top of the television, and apparently, I don't think that's how that works. I think that's supposed to work the other way around. The magnet inside the compass messes with the television? I thought the compass was the thing that got messed up by other magnets, but whatever game. So of course what happens now is this guy. It's his turn to get his head ripped off and casually discarded. And suddenly we're back here because we're done. Did we kill the Skunk-Ape? Nope. But we sure let him kill the other guy. Rick also didn't make it. So that's a shame, yeah. He looks so disappointed. So that was the first case. Pretty successful, all things considered. And so he returned home. But his rest would not last long. He would soon be called upon to solve another baffling case. Everything by Francisco Gonzalez, except the music. And the game closes itself. But don't you worry, because there's a lot more where that came from. And I do mean that. Because for starters, there are 8 of these cases, and the guy that made them got in something of a dispute with the people that were collaborating on the final case, so it went for 4 years unreleased. So what he did during that time was remake earlier cases.
G-R-U-N-D ISLEV Gurisoft.
So without further ado, here's Ben Jordan Case 1 HD Edition.
So you'd like to hear about how I got into this mess? How a regular guy ended up half a world away, unconscious in the backseat of a car belonging to a guy he thought he could trust but turned out to be his worst enemy? But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I should start from the very beginning. It's the best place after all.
Fully voice acted, of course.
My name is Ben Jordan. I was just your average college graduate, 22 years old, with no direction in life and a degree that got me nowhere except a sales job with a local bullseye. As a kid, I was in love with monster movies and anything to do with the paranormal. My family thought it was just a waste of time, except for my grandfather. Grandpa Arthur used to tell me ghost stories and legends he had heard while traveling through Europe in the 1920s. This really fueled my interest in the paranormal. By the time I finished high school, I was obsessed. I wanted to travel and see if the legends were true, but I had to put my dreams aside and go to college to appease my parents. I ended up studying international relations, which bored me to tears. So I passed the time by reading my books on the paranormal, listening to Pink Floyd, and dreaming of my ideal career. One day I was browsing the web and found a book called The Paranormal Investigator's Handbook by Professor Quincy Sanborn. I ordered it immediately and read it cover to cover the day it arrived. It was then that I decided I was going to become a paranormal investigator. So after graduating, I asked my parents to loan me some money, advertised my services on the internet, and sat back waiting for the cases to come rolling in. Of course, at the time, I had no way of knowing that the path I'd chosen was going to change my life, in more ways than one.
Wink, wink. You know he's profound because he listens to Pink Floyd.
My first case started off with me receiving a phone call, but not one I was very happy about.
You know, funny you should mention that, Uratsuki, because I do have something in the backlog.
I told you. I've decided to become a freelance paranormal investigator. I know you think it sounds crazy, but just trust me on this one. I think I've seen enough episodes of the X-Files to know that there's something out there. Look, I have to go. I'll call you back in a few days. I don't understand. It's been 3 weeks since I posted about my services on those forums. You'd think someone would have called by now. Hello? Yes, this is Ben Jordan. Sir, please calm down. I can't understand what you're saying. A skunk-ape murdering people in the Florida Everglades? Okay, I'll go there as soon as I can. What did you say your name was? Ranger Morales. Okay, I'll see you soon. Goodbye.
So he changed it up a
Sure
bit.
was weird, but I've got a case. Time to buy a ticket to Florida.
By changing the names of the characters, apparently. This guy is no longer called
Hello, I'm Ben Jordan.
whatever
Are
he was
you Ranger
initially,
Morales?
but Ranger
I'm
Morales.
afraid not, young man. I'm glad you've arrived, though.
What's the matter? Did something happen to him?
Come with me, and I'll show you.
Here we go.
Well, Here he is. We found him here about an hour ago.
My god, what did this to him?
It seems that this was the work of a creature that up until now was just a legend. A monster known as the Skunk-Ape.
I guess I'd better start my investigation then.
I guess. So, of course, we have a look at the body.
The mutilated body of the ranger is stretched out on the dirt.
Of course, Rage. So you might notice that the narrator voice in this has a bit of an accent.
Feeling slightly nauseated, you examine the body more closely.
Yep. That sure is a dead body.
The ranger's face is twisted into an expression of sheer horror. Either his attacker caught him by surprise, or he's just shocked at the fact that his innards are currently on display to the rest of the world.
Well, I would be shocked as well, I think.
The ranger's mutilated and blood-soaked body is stretched out here, the latest victim of the Skunk-Ape.
Huh.
There seems to be a tuft of hair clutched in the ranger's hand. Maybe he pulled it off the Skunk-Ape as he was being attacked.
Maybe.
The ranger's midsection has been torn open by whatever attacked him. Several of his internal organs are visible. However, you notice that his liver seems to be missing.
So his liver is missing. Does that tell us anything? For now, let's take this hair.
You pick it up and place it in your purse. Did I say purse? I meant pocket.
I think that's supposed to be a reference to Laura Bow, but I'm not absolutely sure. So anyway, I think we're done with the body for now. So let's talk to this guy. You'll notice that we have two talk options. The one with the exclamation mark is small talk, I believe.
It's no use talking to inanimate objects.
Yes, thank you for that.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. Just a little jumpy is all.
And to actually ask questions, you need to use the one with the question mark.
Excuse me.
Yes?
So what about these
What
murders?
can you tell me about the murders?
Oh my, they're horrible. Ranger Morales is the 5th person we've found in the past 2 weeks. Before that, we lost another ranger, a young woman named Rita Myers. There was also a vacationing couple who were camping out in the woods, and the first person we found was a teenage boy who had gone out hiking. All the bodies have had one thing in common. They're all missing their livers.
Missing the livers?
Yes, our best guess is that the Skunk-Ape eats the livers.
Yikes.
It's the livers.
When the whole problem started, we found a few deer here and there with their livers torn out, but then we started finding people, and the MO just carried over.
Yeah, you'll notice as well that this has a significantly lower score than the first game, which was, ironically, I think, quite a bit shorter. But anyway,
Tell me about Ranger Morales.
I didn't know him very well, but he seemed like a nice guy.
Do you know of any reason why he might have been attacked?
Not really, no. So far the murders have all seemed to be random. However, he's the first body that's been found so close to the main tourist area. The others have been further out in the woods. If this keeps up, we may have to close the park until something can be done.
so what is a Skunk-Ape? Let's ask about this again.
What do you know about the Skunk-Ape?
I don't know any specific facts. The Skunk-Ape was always more of an urban legend. But I have heard a few things. What exactly would you like to know?
What is a Skunk-Ape?
What is a Skunk-Ape exactly?
It's similar to a Yeti or a Sasquatch, but we call it a Skunk-Ape because its trademark is a horrible smell. Some have described it as being a mix of rotten eggs, moldy cheese, and dung.
That sounds unpleasant.
It is.
Thanks for
But the
that,
good
Ben.
thing is that that characteristic will make it somewhat easier to track down.
I guess.
Our hero, everyone.
Has anyone actually seen the Skunk-Ape?
The only ones who have are dead.
So there aren't any survivors or anything I could talk to.
I'm afraid not.
So if you haven't seen it, do you know what it looks like?
Not for certain, but the rumors of its appearance are all the same. It's supposed to be 7 feet tall, weigh about 300 pounds, and have a nasty temper.
Glad I asked.
Yep, we sure are glad we asked.
Are there any other animals in the park that might be capable of attacking people like this?
Not really. The Florida panther might be capable of it, but there's so few of them left it seems unlikely that they would be to blame. Besides, they usually keep to themselves.
Have you found any evidence as to what might be responsible?
The only thing we've found so far is a large footprint near one of the murder scenes.
I see. That's all for now.
Okay,
Oh, but it isn't. What can we do?
So, now that I know more or less what I'm dealing with, what do you suggest I do?
well, that's a good question. Obviously, we need to find out why the Skunk-Ape has decided to start killing people, and stop it from doing so again. As a park ranger, I'm morally opposed to killing it, but as it has already taken more than one human life, that may unfortunately be the only solution. I think your best bet is to go out into the forest and see if you can find out if the Skunk-Ape has a lair, or someplace it stays regularly. Of course, you shouldn't go alone, but most of the other rangers have been too scared to go out into the woods since the killing started. I'd go with you myself, but I don't think I'm up for much excitement anymore.
You said most of the rangers were too scared to go into the woods. Are there any who aren't?
Well, there is one guy, Ranger Rick, but I don't know if he'll want to go.
So what about this Ranger Rick?
Tell me about Ranger Rick.
He hasn't been working here very long, but he's one of our best rangers. The thing about him is, he's extremely superstitious when it comes to nature. He might go into the woods with you, but he might have some weird reason for not wanting to.
Well, right now he's my best option. Do you know where I can find him?
He should be at the ranger station.
So there's lots of flavor text, or flavor narration, but we have to go through it all.
This is a nice park you've got here.
Thanks. We rangers pride ourselves on keeping this state preserve as pristine and beautiful as we can. It's really a shame that our nation's wetlands are constantly disappearing.
Yes, I agree. Can you tell me how to get around the area?
Of course. This area isn't really that big. Over there you can see the roof of the visitors center. Near that is a ranger station, and of course there's the forest too. Here, take this brochure. It's got a map so you can find your way.
Thanks.
So now we can travel around. So what about this guy?
Tell me about yourself.
Me? My name is Ernie. I've been a ranger here at Everglades National Park for over 30 years. I love nature. I guess it runs in my family since my brother moved out west to become a medicine man. Aside from that, I really don't know what else to tell you.
Thanks for all your help.
No problem. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to ask.
Hello, Spiffy. We're having lots of exciting adventures here. So what we do now is look at the map, I think.
You were given this brochure of the Florida Everglades, which conveniently includes a map of the area. You open up the brochure and look at the map.
Yes, this is how we move around. So from here we go to the ranger station. It looks pretty similar, doesn't it? So what we do here is go inside.
If you-
Yes, I don't care.
If you want to go inside the station, you can just use the door.
Well, excuse me. But yes, it has the same two posters and whatever that is on the radio. So who is this guy? Ranger Rick, it
Can
tells
I ask you
us.
about some stuff?
Sure, what's up?
You're Ranger Rick, aren't you?
Yes, I am. What can I do for you?
My name's Ben Jordan. I was called out here by Ranger Morales.
Oh, you're the paranormal investigator guy, aren't you?
That's me. Ernie told me I should talk to you.
Okay, so talk to me.
These voices.
What can you tell me about the Skunk-Ape?
It's terrorizing the woods, that's what.
Anything else?
Not really. I don't think I could tell you more than Ernie probably already has.
Is there anything you can tell me about the recent murders?
Terrible, aren't they? It's bad enough to lose your co-workers, but when the public are victims too, it becomes a whole different story. Hopefully something can be done before anybody else dies so horribly. But then that's what you're here for, isn't it?
Thanks, Tom Green.
Ernie suggested I should find someone to go into the woods with and try to track down the Skunk-Ape. He said you were the guy I should go to.
Well, Ben, really I would. But with the sudden appearance of the Skunk-Ape, things in the woods haven't exactly been in balance lately. I wouldn't feel right going out there without some protection.
I've got a rifle.
Wink, wink.
No, I didn't mean that kind of protection.
Well, I guess we could look for a pharmacy or something. But I should tell you, that's not my thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with...
Ben, I'm talking about a nature amulet.
Oh,
Subtlety.
a nature amulet, of course. What's that you're reading?
It's part of a series about this kid who wants to be a professional fish tank cleaner.
That sounds fascinating.
This one I'm reading is part 5, where he goes to Bangladesh.
Is it any good?
Not really. It's surprising, since the author took so long to write it.
Well, I hear that tends to happen a lot.
Bit of a social commentary on the state of modern fiction there. Thanks for that.
What's a nature amulet?
It's an amulet that wards off evil spirits and attracts good-natured spirits.
So if I can get you one, will you come with me?
Sure,
Okay, so how do I do it?
it's complicated. Nature amulets just don't grow on trees, you know. The base is made from an ancient earth object, like a bone or a rock. You'll need some animal hair to make a string so the amulet can be worn. And the amulet needs to be blessed by a shaman. Got it?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
So the puzzle is still as obtuse as it was before, except now there's one more step, which is fantastic.
That's some nice music you're listening to.
Yeah.
It's the only radio station we get out here. But even this music is better than no music, in my opinion.
I don't know about that.
So what's it like to be a ranger?
I like it. It's a fun job. The pay could be a little better, but then the government doesn't send much money our way.
Okay, I'm going now.
Take it easy.
Okay, thankfully I think we're done talking to Tom Green. So let's go to his desk.
You search through the drawers and find a box of diuretic water pills.
To get diuretic water pills. That's great.
It's a box of P-Rex brand diuretic water pills.
Which we immediately know we're going to have to use. So off we go now. To...
You open up the...
Yes, thanks for that. To the visitor center. So the strange man is still here, but now instead of the vest with no shirt thing, he actually does have a shirt.
You were taught that if you couldn't say anything nice, you shouldn't say anything at all. And now is one of those times.
Now is one of those times indeed.
The sign has the words, "Save the Wetlands" written on it in a dark red substance.
Does that mean we're not gonna have to talk to that guy? Uh-oh.
That's a nice sign you got there.
Thanks. I painted it myself using my own blood.
I see.
What? Well, okay. We'll just shrug that off. And keep talking to this guy. Because apparently we
Hello.
have to.
Hey there, young man.
So, who are you?
Tell me about yourself.
My name is Lloyd Daniels. I've been living in Florida for the past 20 years. I'm an active member in the community and a staunch environmentalist. Among the things I do are set up fundraisers, beach cleanups, and protests.
What protests?
What exactly do you protest?
Any possible threat to the environment. You have no idea how angry it makes me to see environmental injustices committed. If I see someone so much as look at a tree the wrong way, I'll go off like a rocket.
I
You seem
sure
very
do.
dedicated to your cause.
And how?
So, what about this Skunk-Ape? What is your opinion on that?
Have you ever heard of the Skunk-Ape?
Oh, you mean that fabricated story to keep us out of the woods so the developers can bulldoze their way in here and build condos behind our backs?
So you don't believe it exists?
Of course not. Even if there was such a creature, it wouldn't be in the wild for long. Poachers would probably hunt it down for its fur, jewelry would be made from its teeth, purses from its hide.
I think I get your point.
Incidentally, I see what the chat is talking about. And I will say I have been to Florida, I have been to Texas, and I have been to Georgia. as it happens. And I have also been to part of the northern US. I have been to Pennsylvania and I've been to New York City. And I have to say that I'm not one of those persons that likes the heat. I hate the heat. And I fucking love cold. So if it were up to me, I would move to Canada, for all that's worth. And speaking of cold, I need to turn on the fan, because it is getting a bit hot. In this horrible place where I live. So if you hear that fan, that is a fan. So on with this non-stop thrills and excitement.
Did you know that the Skunk-Ape has been murdering people lately?
Well, it's about time.
Excuse me?
Man has been murdering nature for centuries. It's not surprising that nature has decided to fight back.
Are you saying it's justifiable homicide?
Now don't go putting words in my mouth, boy. All I'm saying is, maybe this is the wake-up call people need, regardless of whether or not some made-up creature is doing it.
Well, that's an interesting way to look at it.
Nice park, huh?
Nice? Nice? I don't see what's so nice about a bunch of rangers sitting around in their station eating sandwiches all day. While out here, the wetlands continue to disappear by the minute.
I don't know, it seems like the Rangers are doing a decent job.
Ah, shows what you know.
See you around.
Hug a tree for me.
Bye! Okay, so into the Rangers, or Visitor Center rather, we go. Fortunately, we have someone else we have to talk to. Isn't that a
Interesting
gas?
setup you've got in here.
Yeah, the tourists seem to like it.
Yep. So
Hello.
Hello, and welcome to the Everglades National Park Visitor Center.
why didn't you
How
open
can I
with
help
that? I don't think this guy knows what he's talking about.
Do you know anything about the Skunk-Ape?
Can't say I do. I've never even heard of a skunk-ape before.
Oh, well, never mind then.
So he doesn't know about the Skunk-Ape. What about these murders?
Have you heard about the recent murders?
I think I overheard one of the rangers talking about it. But nobody around here tells me anything, since I'm just a receptionist. I'm pretty clueless when it comes to park gossip.
That seems a little unfair.
Maybe. But if people are getting murdered, I'd rather not know about it.
What can you tell me about the visitor center?
Well, everything in here is pretty self-explanatory. I guess I can tell you more about that display case over there, and the animatronic Mekasuki in the next room.
Mikosuki. What is this?
What can you tell me about the animatronic Mikasuki?
It's a robot of an Indian. It's tacky, politically incorrect, and it gives you a blessing if you put in a coin.
I see. Anything else?
It's broken, which is probably for the best if you ask me.
What about the display case?
What's in the display case?
If you read the plaque, you can see that it contains fossils down near this area. Mainly it's just some alligator and shark teeth, and a couple of imprinted rocks.
Can I take a closer look?
I'm afraid not. We've had problems with tourists stealing the relics. That glass case is there for a reason, you know?
No, unfortunately, Ben is not yet in mortal danger.
Tell me something about yourself.
What for?
I don't know, I was just being friendly.
If it's all the same to you, I'd rather not talk about myself.
Okay, fair enough. That's all
Smooth.
the information I need.
Enjoy your visit.
Well, that depends on what it is. Well, you can, as far as I know, you can go ahead, since I don't think it is possible for me to be spoiled on this, since I have played all of these. So go right ahead. What do we do now? Well, we go to the bathroom, of course. Oh yes, it is. This is the deluxe edition of Case 1, which of course had to be made.
It's a hand dryer for drying your hands.
Ravishing. So, now that we are in here, we look at the toilet paper.
A roll of toilet paper is conveniently situated next to the toilet.
Yep, it sure is. That's where it's usually placed. So let's get that toilet paper.
In a fit of kleptomania, you decide to take the whole roll of toilet paper. You never know when it might come in handy after all.
Well, it's going to come in handy right now, because we're going to use this toilet paper to clog the toilet.
With childish delight, you toss the entire roll of toilet paper into the toilet bowl.
That accomplished a lot, I am sure. So out of here we go. And now, obviously, we take one of these diuretic pills we had, and we put it in the receptionist's mug.
You take the opportunity to slip a water pill into the receptionist's drink when he isn't looking. It quickly dissolves.
And he
The
promptly takes
receptionist
drink.
takes a big gulp from his mug. For a while, nothing much happens. But then,
But then,
That water went right through me. Excuse me a second, will ya?
uh-oh, but
it's the door to the men's room.
well, maybe that now that he's not around, we can mess with the display case.
You begin to lift up the glass, but just as you're about to take something from inside,
Hey, please don't touch the display case.
Oh. Sorry.
Oh. Didn't he
darn,
notice?
there has to be some way to get him out of the room for longer.
Yeah, well, didn't he notice there was something a bit weird about the toilet? Namely, that giant roll of toilet paper in it.
You flush the toilet. Oh dear, it seems that your throwing the toilet paper into the toilet has caused it to become clogged.
Well, apparently we had to do that as well. He couldn't have done it. So now that we've done that, we take another one of these pills and put it in the mug. And
You take
wait for that to happen again.
the receptionist.
Oh man.
And wait for him to walk all the way across the screen and into the bathroom. And
Oh, I don't believe this. The toilet is broken. I have to find some place to pee.
so where does he go now? Only one way to go.
Thank goodness for that tree over there.
What the? Hey! Just what in the name of Gaia do you think you're doing?
Ah, well, the bathroom isn't working, so I thought I'd just...
Drown this poor tree in your vile waste product? How would you like it if someone decided to relieve themselves on you?
I guess I wouldn't.
Of course you wouldn't. I suppose you think it's okay just because it's a tree.
Well, I mean, it's not like you can feel it.
Oh, is that what you think? I've got some information for you, Sonny boy.
Oh boy.
The man proceeds to yell at the poor receptionist, who looks as though he fears for his life. This could go on for quite some time.
This could go on for quite some time, so of course now that he's gone, we take our opportunity to steal the relic.
Since the receptionist is currently occupied, you swipe a shark tooth from the display case.
So that is how you get the shark tooth. So now that we're going to go outside again, we see that this is still going on.
The environmentalist is currently yelling at the receptionist.
Yep, that's gonna go on for another while, so of course what we do now is steal the other guy's sign.
You quickly take the sign into your possession.
Because we needed to do that. So now that we've done that, we need to travel somewhere else, namely
Yep.
into the forest. So there's an overturned tree over here.
An enormous tree has been uprooted and overturned. You wonder if this was caused naturally, or if it was the Skunk-Ape's doing.
I don't know how he could have done that. This looks like a pretty sturdy tree otherwise. But this tree over here though,
A large tree stands here, casting a shadow over the rest of the area. You notice a few holes in the tree's bark where there's some dried sap.
yep, some of that dried sap is leaking out. So now that we have this sign, we use it to stab the tree.
Feeling no remorse, you viciously stab the tree with the pointed end of the picket sign.
If the environmentalist saw what you were using a sign for, he'd kill you.
Yep, he sure would, but now we have this. This sap.
A steady flow of sap is oozing out of the hole you made in the tree.
So, of course now what we do is take the hair from our inventory and put it in the sap.
Being careful not to get any on your hands, you soak the hair in the sap.
And now that we have this sappy hair,
The hair is now soaked in the sap and is sticking together nicely.
we use it to weave as a collar for this shark tooth to make an amulet.
You manage to weave the sticky hair into a necklace and attach it to the shark tooth.
And now we have this amulet.
You've put your craftiness to use and constructed a nature amulet.
But if you recall, there's one more thing we have to do. We need to get that amulet blessed. But how are we going to do that? Who's going to bless it for us? Well, if you recall, there's something that was mentioned by the receptionist before this started happening. If we travel deeper into the visitor center, we will catch sight of something that's quite unique in its own way. It is this.
It's a startlingly lifelike animatronic robot depicting a Mikasuki shaman.
And there's a coin slot here.
It's a coin slot, presumably for putting in coins. There seems to be something stuck in it.
There's something stuck in it. Can we interact with it?
You can't reach into the coin slot with your fingers.
Nope, we cannot. Can we look at the coin return?
There's nothing in the coin return at the moment.
No, apparently not. So of course what we do is take our notepad and pen
You can't use that on yourself.
and use it not on ourselves, but in the coin slot.
You stick the pen into the slot, and whatever was blocking it falls through the machine and into the coin return below.
So now we have something
It
in,
seems your tampering with the coin slot has activated the robot.
in the coin return thing.
Hello, welcome to Everglades National Park. I am Sharpen Sawgrass, the shaman. For your generous donation, I will now give you good fortune by performing the blessing dance.
The robot
Yep.
begins some horrible gyration. This really is the most insulting thing you've seen in a long time.
Witness this. That was a blessing dance, evidently. So what we do now is use the amulet on the shaman.
You place the amulet in the robot's hand.
And now we get to do that again.
You reach into the coin slot and find a quarter and an odd little piece of carved rock.
So not only did we get a coin, but also this arrowhead.
It's an arrowhead, carved from what appears to be flint.
A flint arrowhead. Wonder what that'll be useful for. So now that we have this coin, we use it on the coin slot to make the shaman move again.
With the amulet on the robot, you insert the quarter and hope this does the trick.
Hello, welcome to Everglades National Park. I am Sharpen Sawgrass, the shaman. For your generous donation, I will now give you good fortune by performing the blessing dance.
After the robot concludes its little jig, you remove the amulet from its hand. It hasn't exactly been blessed by an authentic shaman, but you hope Rick won't notice.
Yep, we sure do hope. So off we go to give this amulet to the ranger. Actually, wait a minute. Can we travel from here?
You open up.
Yes, we can. That saves time. So into the ranger station we go. Hey, guess what? We have a blessed amulet now.
Here, I got you your amulet.
Hey, great. Okay, we'll be ready to go as soon as I get a few supplies together.
I'll meet you outside the station in a few minutes then.
So, where do we go now?
Here we are. This area is where we found all the other victims of the Skunk-Ape.
And we're going to camp here?
Yeah, the Skunk-Ape is probably nearby. I think this would be a good place to start tracking him from.
How exactly are we going to find him?
We'll go out looking for him later. In the meantime, I'm gonna start setting up the tent. You can look around if you want. Be careful you don't get lost. It may not seem like it, but it's really easy to lose your way out there. In fact, here, take my compass. It should come in handy.
Thanks, I guess.
Yep, thanks, I guess, is the correct reaction. So now... while this guy is setting up,
Rick is currently setting up the tent.
we use this compass we got.
It's Rick's trusted stainless steel compass. He gave it to you so you wouldn't get lost.
Actually, not quite yet. First, we have a look around. What is this here?
Rick brought along his backpack, presumably where he's keeping the supplies.
What supplies are those?
You look through Rick's backpack and find a small bottle of nasal decongestant.
Hey, Rick, mind if I borrow this for a little while?
Not a problem. Be my guest.
Yeah. So now that we have this arrowhead and this nasal decongestant,
It's a bottle of nasal decongestant. The label says not to overuse it.
we use this to gloat at them, but then we completely ignore them and go here. Or not. We go this way, maybe. Is this where we have to go? Yes, it is. So you might notice the change of music from nothing to this. We can look at ourselves.
It's you, Ben Jordan, on your first case. Exciting, isn't it?
Exciting, isn't it? Yes. So, of course, what we do now, since we know the Skunk-Ape is supposed to be stinky, we use the decongestant on ourselves.
You've already used the nasal decongestant. No need to do so again right now.
And we click the nose icon.
Taking a deep breath, you notice a strange odor which seems to be coming from the west.
And we listen to the clue and we travel accordingly.
You take a deep breath. You think you smell something to the north.
So to the north it is. Unfortunately, I think this does go on for a little while.
You inhale deeply. There's definitely something smelly to the east.
Something to the east.
You take a deep breath. You think you smell something to the north.
To the north again we go. So, who knew the Lost Woods were in Florida? I didn't.
Taking a deep breath, you notice a strange odor which seems to be coming from the west.
I don't think Link ever had to use his sense of smell to get out of it though.
Getting a lung full of air, you determine that there's an odor coming from the south.
Of course. Down south it is. Oh, look, a tree. That's different. Let's have a look at it.
It's a tree. There's quite a few of these around, being that this is a forest and all.
Yep, so I've noticed.
Taking a deep breath, you notice a strange odor which seems to be coming from the west.
So back west it is.
You take a deep breath. You think you smell something to the north.
Because this has not gone on long enough. Off to the north we go.
Taking a deep breath, you notice a strange odor which seems to be coming from the west.
The west is the way to go, clearly. And finally we've made it to this mound.
It's a large mound made from dried leaves and grass, plastered together with mud. It definitely isn't natural. Someone, or something, built it.
Yep.
A dark entrance leads further into the mound. You can smell a faint but foul odor coming from within.
So what lies in the dark mound?
You can just walk inside if you want to enter.
Well, thank you for that. Let's casually saunter into the mound.
Upon entering the mound, you're struck with a distinct odor of rotten eggs, moldy cheese, and dung.
Man, it stinks in here. I guess I found the Skunk-Ape's lair.
I guess so. So what is this here?
A large pile of dried grass and leaves is assembled in the corner. This must be where the Skunk-Ape sleeps, especially if the smell is any indication. There is a small pile of bones on the ground. They look distinctly human.
And if you recall, the bones were on the left side of the screen before, but now they're here, because there's something else here. So what about the blood?
On the wall are some dark red stains. You suddenly get a sick feeling in the pit of your stomach.
Yep. And the pit.
In the center of the lair is a large hole. Unfortunately, it's too dark to see how deep it is or if there's anything in it.
So, obviously we interact with the nest.
Searching the nest, you find a large stick.
And get a stick. And using this stick, we combine the arrowhead and the compass.
Striking the steel compass and flint arrowhead together creates a spark.
To make a spark, which is now in our inventory.
Use this spark created from striking the flint and steel together to set things on fire.
Yep. Can we use the spark on the nest?
The nest is probably very flammable, but lighting the whole thing would probably cause a massive fire, especially considering this whole place is made from sticks and leaves.
Yeah, I would think so. So what we do, getting tongue-tied, is use the spark on the stick.
You strike the compass and arrowhead, and light the stick with the resulting spark.
And now that we have a lit stick, we throw that into the hole.
Your
Much
heart
like we did
beating
before.
quickly, you toss the lit stick into the pit.
And we find a bunch of white packets.
Rick,
What's the matter, Ben? You look like you've seen a ghost.
I found the Skunk-Ape's lair.
Was it inside?
Luckily, no. But I looked around and found a big hole in the ground. Inside the hole, I found a whole bunch of packets of cocaine.
Cocaine? Are you sure?
Well, I doubt the Skunk-Ape is collecting sugar.
Why would there be a stash of drugs in the Skunk-Ape's lair?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Well, good job on your discovery, Ben. I'm sure we'll figure out the deal with the drugs.
So what do we do now?
We should check out the lair together, but I think we should wait until dark, just in case the Skunk-Ape is around. We have a better chance of not being detected under the cover of darkness.
Okay, sounds good to me.
I've just finished setting up camp. Why don't you get a fire started and we'll cook some dinner?
Alright, I'm on it.
And incidentally, it looks like my net is done freaking out for
I
now.
realized that a career in international relations wasn't what I wanted, so I decided to become a freelance paranormal investigator.
That's an interesting career option. I don't think there'd be much call for that sort of thing nowadays. But then here you are, so I guess you made the right choice.
I
I've been
guess
wondering
so.
about something. Has the Skunk-Ape ever been active before this set of attacks?
Not that I can remember. I mean, there were stories about it, but never any actual evidence of its existence.
It's weird that it would just start attacking people for no reason. Well, maybe not no reason. There has to be some explanation for the drugs in the cave.
Speaking of which, I think it's about time we headed over there and checked it out. Have you got your rifle handy?
Yeah, I've got it right here.
You know how to use it, right?
Well, no, actually. I've never really fired a gun before.
Yep, my
You
net
better
seems
let
to
me
be back
carry
in
things,
working
just in
order
case we get
for
in
some
trouble.
reason.
Okay, here you go.
Alright, let's get going. So this is it, huh?
This is it.
Are you sure it's a good idea to be going in alone?
If Skunk-Ape is in there, I'll just come back out.
Okay, I've got you covered.
Yep. So now that we're here, we obviously head straight into the cave. nothing bad could possibly happen.
Much to your relief, you see that the skunk-ape has not returned to its lair yet.
Suddenly, you hear some commotion outside.
Uh-oh. We hear something outside. What is it? Uh-oh.
Rick,
Be careful, Ben. This thing means business. All right, you stinking ape. Get ready to meet whatever crazy entity made you.
what? You're going to shoot it?
Do you know how much the Smithsonian would pay to have one of these things on display?
Oh my
Make
god,
enough
what
money
a
to get out
shock!
of this swamp and start a real
That
life.
was totally
But I thought
unexpected.
you said you liked being a park ranger.
You try spending your days being bitten by mosquitoes and lectured by smelly old hippies and tell me how you'd like it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to shoot this animal.
Rick, look out!
What the?
Rick. Oh, he actually did shoot this time, instead of just standing there and getting his head ripped off. Now he gets torn in two. That's great.
After running for what feels like hours, you finally seem to have lost the Skunk-Ape. Now it's just a question of finding your way out of this forest.
So how do we escape this place? Well, there seems to be only one way to go. What's to the north? That's a quaint cabin.
The welcoming light through the window suggests that someone is home.
So let's see if there is in fact someone home.
You decide to see if anyone is home.
Yes, I sure do. That's why I said that.
Just a minute.
Oh well.
No, could that be at this time of night?
Say what?
Who is it?
My name's Ben Jordan. I'm being chased by a giant monster.
Oh yeah, that sounded perfectly reasonable.
It sure did.
Alright, hold on a second.
Could you speak up
Come on in.
a bit, sir?
Thanks, sir. I really appreciate you letting me in.
Call me Jay. You ain't from around these parts, are you?
No, actually, I'm not.
So what are you doing out in the woods this late at night?
Are you a
Have you ever heard of the
robot?
Skunk-Ape?
Did you say the skunk-ape was chasing you?
Yeah, you know about it?
Boy, you've been living in the woods as long as I have. You've seen everything. How'd the skunk-ape find you anyway?
Well, I found him, actually. I was looking for his lair with a ranger from the park.
I see. When did you find it?
Yeah, we were looking into that when the Skunk-Ape showed up and killed the ranger.
You don't say. Well then, I'm gonna go call a friend of mine. He'll be able to help you get out of here and back to safety. Make yourself at home in the meantime. I'll be right back.
Jed disappears into the next room. You're left with a somewhat uneasy feeling, particularly because you thought you noticed his attitude change a bit when you mentioned the Skunk-Ape's lair.
Yep, it kind of did, so let us take some precautions and save here. Because nothing can go wrong, but it's just a funny thing. So what's through the doorway? Uh-oh.
Well, I guess I should have told you not to come in here when I said make yourself at home.
Wait a minute, those were your drugs in the Skunk-Ape's lair?
That's right. I was wondering how you'd managed to get away. Usually the skunk-ape manages to protect my stash from anyone that gets too close.
So you've been using the Skunk-Ape to guard your drugs? How?
How
It's pretty
indeed?
simple, really. I go into the city and steal the drugs for myself off the ships in the port. Then I hide them out here in the middle of the woods, but the police wouldn't let me come up.
What?
So I happened to find the skunk-ape's lair. It was gonna do me in until I remembered.
Yeah, you
I
really
had
need to
some
speak
cocaine.
up, I'm sorry. I can't hear anything.
Don't tell me you.
Yeah, I gave the skunk-ape a little taste, and he loved it. From that day forward, he was like a big stinky pig.
That's so cruel.
So I took advantage and started using his cane. I managed to get an electronic collar on him so I could give him a little shock if he gets out of control. Or if I need to give him a call.
How do I
Like right now.
I'm sorry, I can't remember.
You're a sick
what this
bastard,
guy
you know
talks
that?
about.
I've been calling you once.
I can't
Say
do
hello to my
it.
little friend.
Uh-oh. Oh yeah. So because, like I said, nothing can go wrong. nothing has gone wrong. So, clearly,
It's the Skunk-Ape. It's huge, smelly, and looks angry enough to rip someone's head off.
this is
Better
a...
think quickly, or it'll be yours.
No, why do we have to do anything? Let's just relax and sit back. Let's just enjoy the moment. Yep, this sure is a scene.
Well, that outcome wasn't very good.
Nope.
Let's try that again, shall we?
Oh, wait.
Well, I guess I should have told
Yeah, I'm
you.
not... Blah 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 blah. I'm not listening to you again. I'm sorry. Yep, here comes the cool lead man again. So of course what you do if you've been listening is you flip the table.
Thinking quickly, you lunge towards the table.
That's the best course of action in every situation. Or rather you mildly tip the table. And oh god. He looks like he was gonna embrace him in that middle panel there.
Ben, you back already? What
Yup.
happened?
It's a long story, but the Skunk-Ape won't be a problem anymore.
What about Rick?
He didn't make it.
What a shame.
What a shame.
Well, I guess you've done your job, so I'll write you a check for your services.
Thanks, Ernie. I'd stick around, but I'm in a desperate need of a shower.
Alright, Ben. Take care of yourself.
Yep. Happy ending.
So that's how I broke into the whole paranormal investigating thing. And managed to survive it. Needless to say, the next few months will be filled with more mysteries and danger than I ever thought possible.
Needless
But
to
those are
say,
stories for another time.
so now it's time for the credits. But don't tune out just yet, because there's a little something here that we didn't see in the original edition. Bit of a nod to what things are to come. Dr. Carter's murder. Just to indicate that it wasn't made for this game. Eric Feuerstein. Yep, Francisco Gonzalez, who made the thing, was the old ranger. And Dave Gilbert, who made another notorious adventure game series, was also in it. That's the mumbling guy. And the robot shaman, the most memorable character. And yeah, Francisco Gonzalez, who made the thing, was also the narrator. I forgot about that. Filmed on location, of course. And no skunk-apes were harmed. Yep. But wait. What's this?
Senor, I have good news. We found another one.
Excellent.
Uh-oh. Bit of a nod for things that haven't happened yet. Bit of an evil plot in the making. Who knows, but the thing is passing out. So I'm guessing that it's trying to close itself now, because you're not supposed to play past that point. I wonder if... Yep, it crashed. That's great. So that, I think, is enough Ben Jordan for tonight. So I need to cross that off my list. I mean, of course, there are a lot more games. There's a total of 10 if you count all the remakes. And by all the remakes, I mean 2 remakes. But I think that is something to be done another time. For now, though, we should move on to something else. Oh yeah, let me get this. I forgot I had this. I constantly forget I have this. I wonder why. So I'm glad that at least my internet stopped spazzing out. But it kind of looks like there's a ridiculous lag, ridiculous delay between, you know, broadcasting and the chat. So what I think I'll do now is restart the stream real quick, see if that helps. So if you're listening to this, well, you just heard that I'm going to restart the stream. 1 second, please.